Hi folks, and welcome back. And I'd like to thank everyone for the encouraging comments and the likes on the video so far. It's really appreciated, and nice to know that people are seeing, at least even a small number, are seeing that this is this is not just sort of made up nonsense. That there is something behind it. I'm gonna again go into some coordinates relating to the stars, some pretty outstanding, and sort of code something pretty amazing from the Bible as well, and show as well how as best as I can without the actual map, but show how the tribe tent actually appears within the Star of David and Seal of Solomon, Leviathan, and everything else that is there, and actually connects all the decoded 10 lost tribes as they're all on an individual line of the tent. Okay, so the first one I'm going to start with from the stars is the triangulum, the northern triangle. Okay, this one relates to the KEY, as I explained in the last map, which is the key to the first triangle of the upper triangle, the northern triangle of Solomon's kingdom. So you've got right. If we start off with the triangulum. Triangulum. Okay, northern triangle. Okay, well the first thing you'll notice is the triangle and the lum. Well, it's obviously my KEY on the northern part of the code is made up of Canaan, Egypt being Cornwall, and Y being Judea. Okay, again, all to do with combined nations code and everything else, and Cancer, the star constellation in the middle. However, right, let's not detract. It's right. So we've got triangle, which is clearly a triangle, and then we've got lum. Well, if you look at a lot of the, especially the Illuminati symbolism and the Masonic symbolism, you'll find a G in the middle of the pyramid with the all-seeing eye, and this obviously replicate. Right, I'll leave it at that for now. But you've got a pyramid basically. So the triangle lum. So this is being the first triangle of the large map that creates all of the sides. So what we're going to put in now is we're going to put G, Rus, I. You might be seeing this already. We know this all works by now. Basically, we've got and we've got to put an E on there, which we'll take from the Phoenix. The Phoenix is fixed on E when you decode it, as I've shown it in the past. So it's another tool for the construct Zion site, which we're constructing Zion within these triangles and this map, basically. Okay, so. Okay, so we've got right. So when I bring it down, basically, it's telling you that E, G, Rus I. So EG, Rus I. So EG, I think that could well be an EG as well, Rus I. But it's basically the G in the pyramid, in this triangulum, because there's, well, I call it the G spot. The reason for this is because the crossover of the actual Star of David as well is something where I'm not into like sort of spiritual stuff or whatever, but we're apparently the upper is the male and the lower is the female. So and G Rus would be, I don't know, something like around this spot. Well, I'm going to call it, as without being crude, but the G spot, and G spotted it. So there you go, and this is all relevant to the overall thing. So your triangle is your KEY, the KEY of the upper triangle, and the first key to Solomon's or the first major key to Solomon's, the big key to Solomon's kingdom that creates this the entire map. Okay, this map didn't take years. Just so just to make you aware how quickly this all came in, to show that it was not something that I wasn't even searching, and at the time I didn't actually even realise what I was actually making. All I thought I hit the jackpot when I realised it was a KEY and we had a triangle that fitted, and then obviously we broke the message I showed you, which was key yes, seek. I am well wins not, I am Welsh is true, on the message that comes from it. But at the time of starting this, and the first post I actually did on this on the Facebook group was on, funnily enough, on the 1st of January 2020. The final one that made up, even though there's been additions since. In fact, I found another spear since, but I'll come to that. Since and then to get to the actual, making it the Star of David and completing this star, I actually posted that one miraculously on the 6th of the 2nd, 2020. So it took me exactly, I only worked this out afterwards, 30 days to complete this entire map. So you can tell that, you know, to be able to do that, and all the messaging and all the pictures and all within that was all done in 30 days. Just to show you how, you know, this is not my work. I'm the vessel writing it, but this knowledge isn't, well, I'm not looking for this knowledge, and you certainly can't research it. It just, as I say, it's the tetragrammaton, downloading remote anagrams, timing and trigger, and boom, 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 it all falls pieces together. Okay, so there's your first one. So that's your triangulum, your northern triangle, which as you can see in the Star of David. And if this was on the British map, this is Wales, or I don't know, St David's. This one's down. This is Exeter. That's actually Bognor Regis. I'll explain that one in a second. Then you go around, I don't know, it goes up. What's interesting is, and this is an awful drawing, because this line in reality is going up there. In the year between 400 and 450 AD, ironically, Norfolk was called Caerwent, which is absolutely incredible because it links, and this is the Iceni. This is to do with the Iceni tribe, and one of the pegs that goes out and pegs onto it. Anyway, right, let's go on to the next one. Just go quickly, because I've got a bit to cover, not a huge one, I don't think, but let's see where it takes us. Okay, coordinates. Right. The first one, I'm going to do the next one. As bizarre as this sounds, again, you have to remember that all this was programmed in, and it's all code overlaid in stories that to be found now, and just to show that, yeah, obviously did this in advance. And he says something, I show you things from ancient time, or I tell you things of ancient times. That when they happen, basically you can't put it down to your other gods or somebody else, and that's what he's doing. He's showing that he's done it in ancient times, because all these things, you know, these codes are from ancient times, because obviously we know that the Old Testament or Old Testament was written, you know, a long time, obviously written or produced a long time ago, and then these things are in it. Okay, now the first one is, once I followed Moses, his trek out through Exeter and up along the coast, and he comes to Clevedon, and this is all coded in. I'll skip to it, but he comes where he stops, and it becomes, and we get the set right. This is the key word. This is on all the feasts and you'll see the coding now. But when he says an ordinance. I think it's ordinance, is it? Or is it ordinance? Ordinance. When he says an ordinance to be kept for generations, obviously the word ordinance, now straight away it's a map. You get an ordnance survey map. Bear in mind, an ordinance is also an artillery piece, and the first ordinance sits in the centre of the bow of Sagittarius, as I've shown, and also has another ordinance in there with the Rhine's bow as well, not a million miles from it. Right, so the first ordinance he comes to and does, it's the 7-day Passover. Okay, so as an ordinance or a coordinate on a map, unbelievably, this is the Old Severn Bridge. The first thing is the 7th day is obviously the Sabbath. And as I've decoded, the River Severn, being River Severn, R7, it's got an R in it for other reasons. I won't go into it completely, but it's obviously called the Severn now. But Severn Estuary is an anagram of say never true. So it's saying that basically, and there's a lot of different names for the river in this, but it wasn't really. It's never been the Severn or the R7, but it's been put in there to make up, so it can make out, so you can complete the sentence. Say never true. Also, seen RV or seen the rendezvous is obviously an anagram of 7 as well, which is all part of the code in the maps. Okay, so we've got the 7-day and the Sabbath. Then we got well, firstly, he tells you to put the blood on the door frames. Okay, this is basically, as bizarre as this sounds, this is the Severn Bridge and the upright. If you look at the old Severn Bridge, they're not actually H frames like the new ones. They're actually, and when you're driving through it, you're looking at it, it's like a big giant doorway. It's got red lights on the top. I'm sure there's some significance for that with the lamb's blood. But what's amazing about this, firstly, you've got the 7, so the Sabbath is the 7. Then you've got the Passover, which actually doesn't pass over straight through the, because he says about putting the lamb's blood on the door and on the door frames and the lintels. Well, there's your door frame and there's your lintels as well. He's obviously describing the bridge as well. So now you've got, obviously this goes down into the water, and then you've got the road bridge that runs through the middle. Well, this is the actual for Passover. This is where you pass over the bridge and you go from England into Wales. Okay, the other bridge, I believe it's got 2 H frames for a reason as well, because it's showing his rule both sides. So this land of his rule actually was the tribes were both sides of the river. But let's not stick with this one. Okay, so you've got the 7-day Passover. What's amazing as well, this bridge not only passes over the old bridge, not only passes over the 7, it actually is where the 2 rivers, roughly where the 2 rivers meet. And the river, the part of this bridge actually passes over the River Wye. Okay, and then it meets, I think it's some, actually that, yeah, these are on land, so bear with me, my drawings are awful. So it works something, there's a place called Beachley there. Beach, okay, Beach, yeah, right, okay, sorry, it's getting into a bit of interruption. Right, okay, Beachley, Beach, I'm guessing means each sides of the river, Beachley, and then you've got 7 Beach as well, on the other side, 7 Beach, right, okay. Right, the lamb's blood is on the doorpost when it flows down into the river. But effectively, the Y is the U, and phonetically, this is also a U. So there's your lamb's blood. Okay, that flows down into it's flowing down into the river. It's all symbolic, and then when they obviously survive by doing the blood on there. It survives the Passover. I would suggest that's exactly what this is. It's not literally to put in the blood on there, but it's symbolic of what's coming with the Beru, and it passes over. Obviously, where Coent is not 5 miles from the bridge, so it's only over here and then in the Solomon Safe Code area. Okay, So this is the first ordinance to be kept for the generations. So it's the 7-day Passover. Not only was obviously they're doing it as a feast or whatever it was at the time, or an ordinance, keeping it and obeying the Sabbath. This is obviously designed as well as an ordinance for the future generation, this generation, to understand that that he put it there and there's no one else could have done it, which is exactly what it is. Okay, and if that one's not enough, okay. Right, the next one is, right, which way round shall I do? Right, let's do, basically we've got the feast again. Another ordinance is the Feast of the Tabernacles. Okay, or the Feast of the Tabernacle. Incidentally, as well, while I think of it, where the road from Lankstone, between where Lankstone is on my last video, which I identified as Hercules, and it's the slang, note slang of Park Seymour, etc. Just off this road, and this is where Dora, of the star constellation Dorado, which is Dew Road. Not only did we have the Crib of Gold Road and the Wedge 2 Road, Justo. This one as well. Again, this is to do with the plough, and I realised that 5 lanes is the plough. There's a place called 5 Lanes right by Carrow Hill, and this is where the unicorn, the five is the tribe of the Cass, which is the Newport. So it's the Newport unicorn. Well, I was born in Newport as well, so I would be, because the Cassi were a sub-tribe of the Siluri as well. Okay, and they're the 5th tribe. So the 5th tribe, Cass, and then you've got where I said he plays the furrow, and I actually drew 4. I should have drawn 5, but it's the 5 plough lanes in the furrow. This is the unicorn using his horn again to release the band of Orion and fire it off. Okay, just so that one there actually relates to the plough. Okay, and this is also indicating you've got like the 4 arms, and it's like you've got well, it's like a swastika effectively. It's obviously a different meaning, and I might have done that the wrong way round. I'm not sure which way it goes, but keep that off there. But what it is, it's rotating and it's ploughing up the lanes, ploughing up 5. Well, it's telling me as well to plough the lanes, which is also what I'm doing because they're all coded too. Okay, right. What's that one? Yeah, this road, Tabernacle Road. Well, the next place I'm going to do is the Tabernacle Mountain, that's represented as an ordinance. The ordinance of the Tabernacle is actually Table Mountain. In I believe it's Abergavenny, or just outside, it's running that way anyway, but either way it's Table Mountain. And what this is Tabernacle Mountain. So you've got Tabernacle Mountain. Now what's hidden in there, even though it's not giving it as a full sentence, but what you've got is N-E-A-R, so it's near, but it's obviously secret, so that's why it's mixed up in the word. But then you've got the A-R-C, so it's near the ark. Tabernacle Mountain is near the ark. Well, Abergavenny is sort of there, or Table Mountain is rough, I don't know, in distance, it's not much as the crow flies, but it's in the same sort of area. And then you've got Llanmelin, which is the place of the ark. Obviously it's not a million miles away from it. Now what's amazing about this one actually has me unravelling this written in the stars before I even did it. And I say that because the star constellation for Table Mountain is actually called Table Mountain. It's called Mensa Table Mountain. But this is where it gets crazy, because this prophet already written in that I'm going to get it, because this is an anagram of names table mountain. So the star constellation Mensa table mountain. Mensa table mountain is me naming table mountain as the tabernacle mountain near the ark. Okay, right. Well, the next one fits snugly onto this, and this fits. The next part fits with with something incredibly coded. It puts the Bible back in Wales, back into Wales, into Mon, into Gwent, whatever. Right, the next ordinance. Well, at the Feast of Tabernacles, over and over, he mentions the feast of unleavened bread. Well, I'm about to show you your bread of heaven, because that song, Bread of Heaven, as well, was either divinely put there or I'm led to believe, no, this song is sort of carried, even though they've made out that this song has been created in whatever year, I don't know, by whoever. It's not. This is an ancient song. The bread of heaven. Firstly, I'm going to show you the bread of heaven, and then I'll show you the clues in bread of heaven. Okay, in the song Bread of Heaven. Okay, so unleavened bread. What is the feast of unleavened bread? Right, so you put the bread on the table. Well, right by Table Mountain in Abergavenny is the sugar loaf. Now, this unleavened bread is also known in the Bible as shoe bread. Okay, so what we're going to do, is going to put these two words together and create the anagram from it. And all you do is take the L out. I'll put it there for now. So you've got unevened. I don't even think I spelled this right. Either way, it's unevened. And then we've got WELSH, Welsh bread. Okay, so it's uneven Welsh bread. Okay, and it's also because it fits the ordinance, it's the Sugarloaf Mountain. So this is the mountain of bread that they get from heaven, manna from heaven, sugarloaf, and even now, cleverly, manna from heaven. Right, is also to identify a man from heaven. Okay, and that's also identified in the sugared loaf, because the sugar loaf is in fact called, so Welsh. It's actually a cake, but it's called the sugared loaf, and it can be made with yeast or without. So as far as the yeast part goes, I've already checked this, because it says something about not using yeast, but it basically can be made with either. But the name of it is called Bara Brith. And a man from heaven is Abra, which is, he's omitted the ham because the Sinews didn't eat pork, but you put the so it's the Abraham birth. This is the manna from heaven, a man from heaven, the birth of Abraham, being in the land of the unleavened Welsh bread. So there you go. That identifies that the ordinance is actually the Sugarloaf Mountain. I think it's either in Crickhowl. It's either in Crickhowl or it's in it's Abergavenny, but the two of them are basically next door to each other, and they're not many miles from where the ark is kept either. Okay. Now, what's incredible about these as well is within the triangulum. Again, like I'd have to do more detailed thing of the breakdown of this, but you've got the K. Right, let's try and get this a bit better. These angles, right? So this is the sort of angle of the KEY. So you've got Canaan, Egypt, Exeter, Egypt, Again, this is the seek part, and you've got the Y up there. You'd have to watch the last video to fully understand this. This also turns into a bow. Well, the River Severn, the River Severn is actually, obviously, with the River Sabbath is within the tent. So the Sabbath is within the tent. If I follow this one along, it goes to Norfolk, which is the tribe of Asher in the Bible. Oh, and I'll tell you the star that matches this one as well, which is pretty incredible. Asher, and this is, she asked them, they asked her. This is obviously Boudica, and this triangle is made up, or from here, of the story of Boudica. I'll do that one again, but it's where she took her own life, effectively. Amazingly as well, this one follows down and hits. This one hits Cromer in Norfolk. Right, CR Rome, or CR Rome is in there, CR Rome. Okay, so obviously this is to do with Asher. She asked them, Rome asked her. And it's also the, oh, hang on, I think that's the spelling, but it's Ashori Sini, but just to let you know, obviously that's part of the code. She asked them, they asked her, but I seen E, and then it's now called Norfolk. Well, if you move the R of Norfolk to the beginning, you've got Arno Folk, because what they did is effectively they and this is, like I say, this is where it gets incredible, because this part is Norfolk and Suffolk. I'm not sure how it goes, but with Ipswich is a PB code. The talent of lead in the Bible, there's a code, talent of lead. Well, the code for lead is PB, and it's the switching of being able to switch the P and the B in a word. Well, Ipswich is, if you do it, you get you turn the P into a B. It's IB switch. Now, bear in mind, in 450 AD, this was Caerwent. So and obviously they've switched it, because now Caerwent is where I live, where Jerusalem is over here. This also makes up the Christian fish and one thing and another, but again, I'll go into that. It's following the head of the shark, but again, that's for another day. Okay, so this bottom triangle leads to, again, this is awful, but I think you can see the picture. Holy head. And this is miles off, that should be right up there, but you know, take my thing out of sync. Oh, it has been out of sync. But what you've got are 10 pegs basically, and this one, Exeter, but this one, if you follow this line literally directly up, that hits Cromer, and this one hits Tor Point. Okay, directly, bang on this line. This line is on Exeter, that line is on Swindon. Draw the line directly on. This one hits smash on Tor Point. Well, Tor Point is a Torah point. And this is what the Torah is, the first 4 books of the Bible, and the Exodus out of Egypt. And this is obviously biblical Egypt, and not to be confused with the history of Egypt. There is history, but they've obviously transferred it across the water and created this country called Egypt. It's not the Egypt of the Bible when the Sphinx comes in, because this is the spell cast, basically. So every time people think of Egypt, you know, in biblical Egypt, you automatically assume pyramids and all these big idols and statues and all. Well, if you read it, that's not what it says. It says they worship idols of gold, but an idol of gold could be a gold, well, for an example, a gold cross that you wear, you know, or any image. It says not to make an image of heaven or the earth below. You know, I'm going to say nothing about that, but Christianity, and the Catholic Church especially, does plenty of that. Worshipping idols of wood and stone that cannot see, hear, or breathe. That should give you a clue as to what he's referring to in this day and age, because there's only one idol that cannot see, hear, and breathe, but would in real life see, hear, and breathe. And you know, you know what I'm talking about. It's the Christian cross, basically, because But that's not right. Okay, let's just carry on anyway, because I don't want to put anybody off this until, because like I say, it's all about truth and getting truth out there. So this is the Torah point. Now, this is where Moses crossed from the Red Sea. He came up from Rame's Head. This is Sea Ramesses, basically. This is a coordinate. Lizard Point is where he put the stick down and it turned into a snake. When the curse for Satan, when he was thrown out of the Garden of Eden, was that he was to crawl on his belly forever and ever until time comes when he's dealt with. Well, firstly, for him to have to have been sent, created, well, cursed to be put on his belly meant that he was upright, or at least had limbs to start with. This is why Lizard Point is the coordinate for that story. So when Moses puts down the staff, it points. Turns into a lizard or a serpent. It's not a snake, it's a serpent, and a serpent being a lizard. Also, he basically touches it down and identifies the English Channel as the Red Sea, because it turns when he puts it. Also, secondly, he puts it down at Lizard Point and it turns the sea blood red. This just identifies the English Channel and this being the Red Sea. Okay. Now, Solomon spoke to animals for one, and I'll come to that because that's quite incredible as well. He didn't really speak to them; it's code. But one of the things that it's a takeoff, I think, because I don't believe it says it in the Old Testament, but it's a takeoff of where Yah says speak, it's the most bizarre thing to say. But unless you know what it means, but he says, "Speak to the fish of the sea and the fish of the land," I think, or the creatures and the creatures of the land, and they will teach thee. Well, it did, because the Red Sea is full of red herrings, because this is in fact the river. It's where Moses made the crossing. He comes up out there and crosses over, and the river. And this is amazing, because at Tor Point, the river that he crosses is the Tamar River. Well, when we add the E of the Felix, we get the word tame. You just add the E in there, and you switch those, and you get Tame Ra. So this is the river, Tame Ra. So it's a Torah point. The Tame Ra River, obviously they tried to cross it, and it engulfed his army, whatever. And Ramesses, obviously that was the end of that, and they obviously went up, followed up through. Well, I don't know if he actually went through Exodus, to be fair, but it's obviously clearly indicates Exodus. The Exodus is where they're exiting Egypt. They come up along the coast, and this is where you get the story of a lightning from an ass. Well, this is Western Supermare. Then you've got the cleave to me. This is Clevedon, and then you've got the 7-day Passover, which is where he hits with the 7 bridges now. But there's war in Canaan, and he has to go round. I'm not sure exactly where he goes up there, and he ends up coming up to the B Recon beacon that he's been following in the sky. Obviously, the sky must have lit up, and that's why we got the B Recon beacon, which was the Mount Sinai. Okay. There's also a split rock in Cornwall as well, incidentally. Somewhere, it's either in Cornwall or it's in Devon, but it's somewhere along the route. There is actually a rock with a split in it, which is where he provides the manna and the water. There's a lot more to go with Egypt and Cornwall, but I'll just leave it at that one for the moment. But you can really see how this works. Going back, oh yeah, this is Ipswich. When we take these, this actually crosses over. There's a cross here somewhere, and then it joins onto this. I'll have to show you the map, but there's a lot more code to it, because it's an I, and the first letter I, second letter C, and then it makes a cross. And it's actually where Boudicca, it's on Cambridge actually, and it tells where Boudicca took her own life, and the map is made up of the thought process of getting there and becoming a star of the divine ID. Okay, I think, sure, oh, the star constellation, just to show you again, they're incredible. This is all planned out. Let me just ditch that a minute, because there's another star that sits, and I'm not at this point, sure exactly where on Norfolk it sits, but there is a star called Coma. Let me just pull this up, go bear with me because I don't want to go getting into a fluster trying to get the spelling right. Let's do it from the start, bear with me. It's worth the wait though to see this one. Almost there, guys. It's just weird. Bear with me. Yeah, we want NASA's version, that's for sure. Constellation, Constellation, here we go. It goes. Where are we? There we go. Hang on. Now, when doing this, I realised, well, firstly, I'll show you the first bit because we've got, unbelievably, C, O, then it's B. Now, right, what I did, and I'm going to do it again just so I know I got it wrong. Yeah, I see. Okay. Right, I was not aware, but right, I was not aware until I actually looked this up. I saw this and I see these, and I thinking I see these, but I couldn't get the spelling right. Well, I was totally unaware, but they were also known as the, and this is obviously the real correct name for them because that's why it's written in the stars. And this is off what's it called, Wikipedia. We've got N-I, and it's just plural, so the Essenes. Well, I think you're going to see, no, you're not going to see it, but if you pull up basically the Wikipedia thing, it says the Iceni or Esseni were a Brittonic tribe of eastern Britain during the Ice Age. But just to confirm it, and I know this sits over their tribe somewhere, but it also confirms that getting Marco BS is telling me that the what number are they? Number 4, the 4th tribe. I think, yeah, the 4th tribe of Asher are in fact the Iceni, and that this is the obviously the correct decode of how I've done it. But there's your star constellation: Coma Berenices. Marco Biasinis, 4th tribe of Asher. How can that be coincidence? Can this all be coincidence? Believe me, Yahweh is real, and this is all, you know, like I say, I'm not looking for this stuff. I got this in well, I don't even know how I got it really, in about 10 seconds. It just started coming to me, and it was only a case of checking up the spelling, and when I did, obviously I just decoded this straight away. So that's how this works through this tetragrammaton. It's not me, well, you couldn't look for this stuff. It would take a lifetime to find all these things, and without searching, they're not coming out of books, as you know. I mean, I used, obviously using Wikipedia as a reference, but and lo and behold, as well, it turns out that which again I didn't know, and it's not shown. Well, it's not. Well, I wouldn't have thought it's well known, but when you check the records of Caradoc, Boudica was actually, or Boudica of Britain was actually his sister as well. So it would make complete sense that Caradoc being a Siluri, there being the Esseni, would be one of the tribes that obviously that connect. Not only, and you've got Cowent, you know, the name of it being Cowent in the year 400 to 450 AD. So there you go, all food for thought. And I'll leave it at that on this one. And I hope you enjoyed it. And again, please feel free to comment or like. I'll answer any questions I can answer. You know, and hopefully you know we'll get some likes. And if you, well, most, you know, we could share this stuff, and this message really needs to go out, because this is no, you can see it cannot be coincidence. Excuse me. And you know, it's just, if it gets to a point where well, you're just going to rule out coincidence. It's impossible. Anyway, I won't waffle anymore. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully you'll enjoy it and catch you soon. Oh, I will leave. Anybody wants to contact me as well, anybody can offer any help at all. My email address is, and feel free, anybody wants to email me with anything. I only do this. I mean, obviously, I don't want to put my phone number out on a. Yeah, Yahoo. Just spotted. Sorry. Who knows? m4rco3006@yahoo.co.uk. That's my email address. Feel free, any questions, I'll answer what I can. Anybody can help me to get this up. I've got so much more to show on maps that is untrue. Again, I'll leave it at that, and thanks again for watching, and it won't be too long, hopefully, before we get the next video out. Cheers.